It's that time of year again when people gather together with other people who they barely know or have never met and debate online about whether Baby It's Cold Outside or Fairy Tale of New York is a problematic song, or whether they both are. Two fairly beloved wintry Christmas songs. Fairy Tale of New York is easy to explain for anyone who hasn't heard of it or doesn't know the controversy about it. It contains the word faggot in it as an insult. It's not a description of a bundle of twigs or of a particular joint of meat. Baby It's Cold Outside is a bit more difficult to explain because the whole song is arguably problematic, with a few lines in it that are probably the most damning that could be censored out to make a more palatable song. It feels almost quaint to be talking about the Me Too movement now in 2020, when it feels like a lot more has happened and the conversation has moved on from when Me Too started to be used in sort of colloquial speech to refer to sexual harassment, usually against women, and the various cultural influences and effects of that. That was very much part of the conversation in 2016 or 2017 when I started doing YouTube, but since then there's just so much more to talk about that feminism, and in particular Me Too, has kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit. And I admit that I haven't even seen anything about Baby It's Cold Outside yet. This year I haven't heard any conversations about it, so I guess you could say I'm starting the conversation this year. Just like with all of these topics, we need to ask whether it is people are truly being offended by these songs, or whether they are merely protecting others who they perceive could be offended. So in other words, are there any people who have gone on record to say that they have taken offense to the songs, or are these people who say that the song is offensive, are they only labeling it as offensive because they imagine that there are people who find it offensive, if that makes sense? Is the offended party imaginary or real? I don't know is the answer to that, but I'm going to assume for the sake of argument that there are at least a few people who are truly offended by Baby It's Cold Outside or by the word faggot being in Fairy Tale of New York. This isn't so much a question of censorship. I don't think either of these songs is in danger of being officially censored by the government. It's more a case of political correctness, where the people who put it on the radio might feel the need to alter it or to not play it, just play different Christmas songs instead. Likewise, for the supermarkets or clubs or pubs or whoever might be playing the song in a public setting. If the people who think these songs are offensive get their way, they could even put pressure on music companies like Apple or Spotify to take the songs from the music libraries, so that it becomes more difficult to listen to them, or to take them off YouTube, or these streaming platforms where music is only stored digitally. There is a danger of getting your music censored because of that. So that's the extent of the damage that is possible from these objectors, the people who, I don't know how to easily label these people who find the songs offensive, but that is what we stand to lose. We stand to lose these two songs, possibly, theoretically. And what would be the damage of that? What would be the worst thing that could happen as a result of that? Well, nothing, right? Nobody's going to die, nobody's going to get sick or get hurt because these songs are no longer available, and yet the world would have lost two good songs, two of the songs that make up our cultural idea of what Christmas is, much to the chagrin of I'm sure, to the people who would rather Christmas be about the birth of Jesus. Christmas has become so much more than that, and it's all of the songs, it's all of the decorations, it's all of the little traditions that we have. And some of those traditions change or fall out of fashion over time naturally. That can be upsetting for the people who treasure those traditions. And I think what it comes down to is nostalgia, this yearning for the past, for things to stay the way that they were when we were innocent children. We learn the idea of what Christmas is during our formative years, and I think in a sense Christmas is often, traditions like Christmas are crystallized in our minds as that thing. It's a million little things, including Fairy Tale of New York and Maybe It's Cold Outside, and we carry that crystallized traditional idea of what we think a traditional Christmas is throughout our lives, and that's how we recognize Christmas when it comes along every year. But when it's observed from a cold utilitarian standpoint, from a logical point of view, there is no right way to celebrate Christmas. There's no harm to changing the traditions, to changing the cultural identity of Christmas Day. There's no harm done by changing or removing things from the Christmas traditions, especially since it does happen naturally often. I mean, the songs that I'm talking about here didn't even exist 100 years ago, but they still celebrated Christmas back then, and their Christmas was just as special to them as our Christmas is to us. But as I have tried to point out on this channel before, morality isn't as simple as just avoiding harm done to people. Human beings have other moral foundations that we use to make ethical decisions. And I think you could say that nostalgia is in some way its own moral foundation. We do find it morally repugnant or somehow wasteful or just upsetting to have to change things that we hold dear, to take something that we enjoyed in the past and continue to enjoy and to change it or to take it away. And it's easy to say, oh, well, you're not going to die if you don't get to say faggot in Fairy Tale of New York. And yeah, that's true. I can't give you a good argument why the word faggot makes the song a lot better, or why I care about it being in the song, except that that's the way that the song has been played for my entire life, and I like it that way. I like the song. Most Christmas songs are so sentimental, and they're about Father Christmas and presents, or they're so Christmassy. And that's fine. I don't have anything against songs like that, but it's good to have songs that are just like a little bit edgier mixed in for the Christmas season, so that you're not just listening to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Having these songs that, Baby It's Cold Outside is quite a cheeky song. It's romantic, and I don't want to say it's a little bit dangerous. The very things that people find offensive about Baby It's Cold Outside are what I actually like about that song. I like the chase and the duel of these two singers who are, flirtatiously at odds with each other. And similarly with the Fairy Tale of New York, you're not hearing a really sugary, toothache-y, sweet Christmas song. It's like it's a little bit cooler than that. The Fairy Tale of New York isn't like that. It's got a bit more of a bite to confuse that metaphor a bit. I think good art is surprisingly rare. Most songs that get written aren't good. Most Christmas songs that are written just get forgotten. And it is kind of a miracle whenever somebody produces a piece of art that is widely enjoyed. And I don't think that we should take that lightly. I think when something good and enjoyable, when good art is produced, I think it is worth protecting for its own sake. And you can hold up a group or a handful, or maybe even a few hundred people who find that song offensive or who get really upset at that song, and you can probably hold up 10 times that number of people who just don't like those songs, not for any ideological or politically correct reason, but they just don't think that they're good songs. And I think that's fine, but that doesn't mean that it's all right to just censor those songs, I think. And just because I don't personally find the word faggot offensive, it doesn't mean I can't sympathise with people who do. But anyway, the baby's awake now, which as usual means the video has come to an end, and so I'll just say thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments in the comment section below. And until next time, have a good day. I hope to see you again soon. I really can't stay. Baby, it's cold outside. I've got to go away. Baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been how lucky that you dropped in. Very nice. I'll hold your hands there, just like ice. There's bound to be talk tomorrow. Think of my lifelong sorrow. At least that I can say that I've tried. If you got pneumonia and died, I really must go. Ah, but it's cold outside.